Hi, and welcome to Art Chats con La Mitotera. I'm your host, Mel Dominguez. Thank you for tuning in to this new edition of Art Chats. I'm really excited. Tonight we have a very special guest. I actually worked with him on a big project, and we'll be talking about that project once he hops on. The artist is Sal Sawaki, also known as Wagon Burner, which I thought was really dope. I mean, it just sounds really cool. So, all of these things, I'm just super pumped to be able to interview folks like this to help everybody introduce themselves, because quarantine has really made it a little bit hard for us to get together and put on some of the shows where we would have introduced you to these folks. Sal, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man?
Everybody in Instagram land. This is Sal Sawaki, Wagon Burner Arts. Tell everybody where you're from.
So I'm originally from Southern California, and then I moved out here at 15 years old. So
Oh my god, I didn't realize that. That's dope.
Being from there, it I don't know, it kind of generates a little bit of my work.
So you get inspired by those that from your hometown.
Yeah, a lot of it's from my hometown, but I mean, I draw my inspiration from everywhere. Everybody has different places where they draw that from. Mine has a lot to do with experience, inexperience, and everybody. Even the most inspiration I get is from underdog artists, the artists that are unknown, the no names. Those are where I get my inspiration from.
That's really cool. When did you start getting interested in becoming an artist?
Well, I actually been drawing and doodling since I was about 5 or 6. And then when I was about 13, I started doing graffiti. I started writing on walls and stuff. And then later on in life and find out, that I could actually be getting paid for it rather than, other options.
I know, and that's a big thing, because it's just I want to say it's a matter of fact that your mind is always growing, and as you grow and you mature into these different spaces, things make more sense to you. Like, hey, you know what? I'm giving them a badass piece of art. I need to get paid, so why not?
And you know what? Here's the thing about that, though. The financial benefit of being a full-time artist, that's not the whole goal. That's just a byproduct of the passion itself. So that's the plus right there, is when you're working for yourself and you have, I mean, obviously we all need to pay bills and stuff like that, but in the end, for me, that's not the goal. That's a given when it comes to that profession, but that's not the end goal, is to make money. I mean, yes, that's there, but it's all about priorities and where you place that, and that's all.
Yeah, to even trade. Like almost like an even trade for your time. You know what I mean? So that's why I find it cool. But I mean, I first met you at the Pascuayaki car show.
Yeah, I'm actually an enrolled member there. So I went to a show. I think I went to the recognition, the 42nd annual recognition, and I went there, and I had my niece. She was carrying around one of my pieces, and that was the whole goal of them carrying it around. I had a nephew and niece carrying around a piece of artwork with me, and Gabriel Otero actually recognized that there was a piece of artwork being carried around, and then he asked who created it. I told him I did, so he actually invited me to the Festival of the Arts.
Oh, man, I'm glad he did, because I mean, I met him in the mix, and I can't even remember where I met Gabriel actually, but but he knows everybody. Like, everybody's interconnected,
Right.
And if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have got invited to that show either. So, and then I saw you, and I was like, holy shit, this is good ass artwork, and you could see the artist's thoughts in the artwork. So I was like, oh, this is dope.
Right.
But hey, what's up, James?
James.
That's cute, man. Hi. No, so then, can you tell everybody how the whole mural that we recently painted, how that all came together?
This was actually a connection through Fonz. Fonz actually, he tagged me and you and asked us if we wanted to hit him up. As soon as tagged me, and I just called the guy immediately. And fortunately, we actually scored it, and I felt like now was the perfect time to send a message to the community, especially the younger generation. With everything that's going on right now, I can't imagine the impact and the confusion must cause for them right now. I mean, it's such a skeptical time, and like nobody knows exactly what's going to happen tomorrow or next week, or next month. I mean, just this year alone, there's so much that has happened. It's very hard to keep up with everything.
Yeah,
Aside from everything that's going on, there's people still have to deal with their home life as well. So this
I know.
was to the community to just hang on to hope.
Yeah. So, but I loved it because your art leadership, like there was an older dude that joined in, Alan, and then like younger folks. Then I'm like, oh my God. And you were able to talk everybody through getting a piece done.
Right.
And it was really fantastic because we were standing around while there was businesses that decided to open this week. So, it was pretty intense to be the artists that were out there doing these things. But because of it, the timing, like all these things that are happening in our world, doing a piece of art where it's at and in the large format is like a huge piece of art therapy for everybody.
Right, and that's our opportunity as an artist. That's our opportunity to speak to people, to a mass amount of people. There is no real way to find out how many people that's going to impact. I think putting out a message like that now, and it doesn't matter whether something's happening or not, that it's important. It's important for us to voice our opinions, no matter what we support. Like, our passion is going to come out, and I just hope that message that we put out to people, that hope, pass it on, to not let that go away. That's something that needs to be held on and cherished, and really just passed on to the next generation, because it's just like us as an artist, like all the techniques I've learned throughout all the years of experience that I have. It doesn't matter what medium, like I'm not afraid to share that with someone. That's why it's so for me to say, hey, you have no experience using aerosol spray paint. Here's how to do it. This is what tips to use, or this technique is going to work better for this. It's the same thing. It's just like passing it on. It's like paying it forward. And
even down to where you got your cart from. Hell yeah, but it was a nice ass cart. It folded up nice and tight, and then it opened up enough so that you can carry, literally, that was a whole load of paint, and it was like not light,
Yeah.
But for the folks out there who haven't seen the mural, it's located at 2654 North Campbell.
I can't remember the exact address right now, but it's I think the cross streets are the closest cross streets are going to be Glen and Campbell, just south of Glen on the, let's see, southwest side.
No, east side.
East side, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And I think the actual street is, I think it's Mitch or Mitchell. I forget which. But it's in the parking lot of Prep and Pastry. For those of you who haven't seen it, it's actually posted on Wagon Burner Arts. You can find it also on Instagram. It's Wagon Burner Arts. It's with an S at the end. You can also find it on Facebook. There's also a YouTube channel. So, I mean, you guys are more than welcome to go check things out.
And I love that, because that's the other part to this. It was before the quarantine and the pandemic had all became part of our lives, everything that Tucson was doing was based around gastronomy, getting out on your bicycles and walking and then they even made a map where you can go and look at a lot of the art. It was produced by the RTA, but everything got postponed.
Yeah.
But for this instance, for this sample, they can still get out and check out these murals that are being produced by the artist in a positive movement to move people forward and pass that torch on, like you said, like hope.
Yeah, absolutely. It being a mural, I know a lot of people are skeptical about going out right now, but I mean, you can stay in the safety of your own car and drive by and see it. So that's the one good thing about it. It's on a main highway or a main street, So I mean, it's very visible to the community, and I just hope that it reaches somebody. Actually, somebody posted on Facebook that they could feel the power of the message that we sent through there. So that right there, it's messages like that that really hit me as an artist that I'm doing something right.
Yeah, no, it was totally positive. Who, can you tell folks like who worked with you on that project?
That's Alan. It's funny because none of us have ever worked with each other before. I mean, maybe there was a couple of artists who have, but the majority of us didn't know each other until this piece happened. It was you, Alan. He goes by Sketch71. You can find him on Facebook as well. There was Aricela, from a younger generation. You know, I mean, it was their first. I think it was their first experience. Hers and Cora experience doing on a mass scale that way. There was also Tommy. Tommy helped out a lot. He really donated a lot of paint to this whole project. So Tommy, thank you very much. We really appreciate that. And there was also, who am I forgetting? Help me out here.
KT.
KT was awesome. She only came out for a few hours, but it doesn't matter. You know, she came out for a couple of days for a few hours, and she still had to work that day, but we were fortunate enough to have her hand in helping with that. So that was awesome. Like, I thank everybody for helping out with that piece.
Yeah, no, that was really dope. I mean, well, for the young ladies, the artists, I think that it was even more important because they were on the north side of like 22nd or something. Okay. You know, so a lot of the opportunities happen maybe in the inner city, but access or, you know, or getting a job outside of that range is kind of a different story. So that was huge too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. It's always awesome working on a piece like that. And it doesn't matter whether it's on a small piece of paper or a mass scale mural like that. Like every piece that I finished, it always feels like an accomplishment. Like I finished that, you know, and that's not something I grew up with. So having that, it like brings a sense of pride. And I always hope that the things that I do, I hope I can pass on to someone else, you know?
Yeah, no, you are. Even to the elders, like we're never finished learning. So it was a really good experience, you know. Where are there other murals that people can, you know, check out via drive-by or bicycle?
I have a piece that's still up. There's a couple pieces in the Phoenix area. One of them is like on McDowell Road, and I think I want to say it's 46th Street. That was actually the first mural that I'd done. It's at Oasis Insurance. And they were having an issue with graffiti. So I explained to them, you know, maybe this might be a good idea. And I went in there not exactly as a sales, but I explained to them, maybe to help you prevent getting this wall tagged on, let's put a mural there. And all it was just their name with an arrow pointing to their business. And lo and behold, they never had an issue with that graffiti again. So I appreciate the graffiti artists respecting that part of what I did, you know. And fortunately, right now, it seems to be a respect thing when a piece goes up like that. People get a lot of confusion about what graffiti is, and what it isn't. Now, I'm going to explain to a lot of people that whether it's a mural that says a message like we did, or it's some writing that some people can't read, it's all graffiti. Now what we did was just an acceptable part of it, and a lot of people get that confused as like because they can't read it or they don't like it, that it's not acceptable, you know. And it's all form of expression, you know. And we just got the opportunity to express a message that we felt necessary to put out.
Oh yeah, and what I like about it is that it creates that whole like that vibration where other people pick up or they feed off of that message, and it just like kind of like that's contagious. Boom, 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 where people carry that on. And so I love that. And there was a lot of people that were parking and stopping and looking, and it was really awesome, you know. Even some of the walkers, you know.
Right, we got treated very well. Prep and Pastry took care of us. Prep and Pastry, thank you so much for looking out for every single one of us every day. You made sure that we had coffee in the morning, the first thing when we got there. So thank you, Frankie and who was it? Frankie and James. James, thank you so much, man. You're just an awesome person, man. Thank you for that. You didn't have to do that, but that the fact that you did and you fed us lunch every day, oh my God, amazing. There's nothing there that I didn't eat that I didn't like.
They were huge too. It was like a hamburger was like big. I was like, yeah. Damn.
The portions were amazing. Like, if you have never ate at Prep and Pastry, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's super awesome. It was just how do you say, it's an intense time.
Yeah.
Like, cause it's coming from all ends, and to have a break. And what I mean by that is getting out with other people and other like-minded folks that are artists and things. It felt really good to be out there and just hearing other people's stories or listening to why this ladder's so scary to be on right now.
Really feel like what made us bond together was the message that we were putting out. We knew that that message was going to be far-reaching. You know, it wasn't about any one individual artist and what we can do. It was about the collective message that we can put out to others.
Yeah, and the fact that those little kids who weren't in school but watching us paint, right, that they saw that happen, I was like, yes. Yeah. Can you tell us about that Laloguerrero mural down in Barrio Hollywood?
Yeah, somebody seen a posting. I don't even remember where. I think it was on Facebook, I want to say. Maybe it was Instagram. I don't know. But I'm still getting accustomed to the whole social media thing and how far-reaching it can be. Now, this Laloguerrero, he was a Tucson icon. He was a guitarist. He actually grew up in this home. It was an old adobe home that was built in 1911 or 1909. I can't remember which. It was 1911. So he grew up there as a kid in this household, and he moved out, and I wasn't told this. I was just commissioned to do a mural in the courtyard there as an ode to him. So that was amazing that I was able to partake in that. You know.
Yeah, because I mean, what I find important is an image like Lalo's and what Lalo was singing about. It's about identity and belonging, and the fact that the home I believe that you're speaking of had actually got demolished to then put in what is now the Tucson Convention Center.
Yeah.
No, that's not the same area?
No, it's been the same. What I seen, you can find it on Instagram. Throughout they actually show their whole process of reconstructing. That whole house is remodeled. They added a piece to it. So some of the adobe they took out, a lot of it they repaired. But now it's got fixtures in there that has never been in there before. But amazing. You can find it on Instagram at, I think it's called the Lalo House. And they have images that were progression of them remodeling the home. So it's pretty awesome process. And then you can also find images of the art piece there as well.
Well, I'm glad that they kept it, because I know that there was a barrio that got demolished to use the land. So, but I love all the imagery because it falls back into that storytelling for the young people who aren't or don't have anybody or don't know, that they learn about the history that that belongs here, is from here. But can you tell us about the inspiration for the computer mural that you did?
Oh, the Tucson computer?
Yeah.
Well, that was actually the first large-scale mural I had done in Tucson. That was just like, I actually used my sister as the model for that. She's actually pretty dorky, so I told her I was gonna make her famous by putting our face on the wall, and she told me that more than likely or rather she was gonna make me famous. That piece was basically, I guess loosely, a message to, as a person of dark skin, it's like almost like a message to others to like remember where you come from, you know. Like, most of it was mainly design, but I mean, it's all like in the eye of the beholder too. You make that message out to whatever you want it to be. you know, and that's every piece. Art can be deeper than just a, you know, just a pretty picture that you create. That's just this awesome piece, you know. I get lot more out of art than I feel like anything else, any other part of my life. You know, there's principles that I can apply to my artwork that I've actually applied to everyday living. One of them, my favorites, being if you make a mistake and you can't fix it, well, you learn from it and move on. Well, you can apply that same exact principle in artwork in everyday life.
Yep. No, that's real. That's real, dude. Because it took me a while to figure that out too. I'm still working on myself, but it's true. It's a real big thing. Like not to take things so deeply too, and to just kind of like keep pushing. Because there's actually people who get stuck on one thing and don't change anything about it. And I'm like, you yourself have to change it. So that's a lot of good advice. And see, that's what art takes the time to do, is really process and think things through from all sorts of perspectives to give, you know, almost put on a show or paint a picture so that people can understand in a mass quantity while you not standing there. That's why I love art, because you could leave and they're still going to receive that message. So
If
that's why it's important.
art in my life today, I don't know where I would be. All I can say is if you're an artist out there trying to make it, keep going. Don't let nobody tell you anything else. Don't let anything discourage you. You may have disappointing moments, but don't never stop.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is just to keep going, because you're always gonna be learning things and doing things. And speaking of, what next projects do you have lined up? Like, where can we see you next?
In the past, I want to say 8 to 9 weeks, I've done probably over 15 projects. So I totally didn't expect to be this busy during this time. That it's like questionable as to what's going to happen next week. But right now I'm super booked. We actually have this project going on right now for a nonprofit org. It's called, it's actually, the place that we're painting at is called Safe Shift. It's on Grant and Tree. But it's also involved with the Greater Tucson Fire Foundation. It's a nonprofit org. They help with, let's say a firefighter it's going through issues and has PTSD. Well, they're paid for by this program, by Safe Shift. They also provide housing, furniture, anything that they need for the firefighters for free. Now, it's open to the public only 3 days a year. However, I think it's about 99% of the proceeds actually go towards that program and to provide services for firefighters that can't afford it themselves.
See, that's huge. And it's just, I mean, and then now we have the fire, so it's like,
yeah,
it's kind of cool to look back at that, you know. So all of these things, all of the opportunities, that's all a blessing. So that's huge, man.
Yeah, so that's the next project. So that's gonna probably happen in about a week and a half to 2 weeks.
That's cool. It's gonna be hot out there. Make sure you hydrate.
Hot out there. You just have to learn to learn to work around it. I'm used to working at night during these summer temperatures. It just helps. But right now, there's just so much uncertainty. In order to keep everyone safe, I mean, we did that mural all together, and all of us were wearing masks. So it's just like I want to keep everybody safe. So I'd rather not work at night right now, just because of all the chaos that's going on.
Man, I know, because I kind of got excited. I'm all, the quarantine's lifted. I'm gonna go paint at it. But then there's those things, and I can't believe that that's where, in the 2000s, that's where we're at, like with all this stuff. And it's a real turning point. These are the new things that we're doing, and it lives here on space, and that is through Instagram, reconnecting with each other, sharing that space. I mean, I had some really like just real simple questions, just so that people out there can get to know you. But I wanted to ask, what artist inspires you the most? I know you said the underdogs, but is there anyone else out there?
That's always a hard question, man, because I always just look back, honestly. Dolly was a huge inspiration to me just because of his imagination. Escher, like I love doing geometric patterns. So he's a huge inspiration in doing that. Da Vinci. Da Vinci is just a freaking genius. I mean, he was so ahead of his time. To this day, they still use his illustrations in textbooks. He was. So I mean, just to me, this is like, that's mind-boggling, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't feel like I could ever learn enough, or I could ever get enough inspiration from people. There's always room for learning, no matter what profession you're in. Like, there's always that little bit of room. If you become unteachable, then you're just gonna stay the same no matter what. Always teachable.
Right? Like, who wants to stay stagnant?
Right.
But
if you're an artist out there, let me just say this real quick. If you're an artist out there, don't never fall in love with your pieces, because if you fall in love with your pieces, you're never gonna make it.
You're all boom.
I mean, this is a piece that I've done right here, you know, and that's with dollar store acrylic right there.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, are there any others that you can show us that are close by?
Yeah. Let's see. So this piece, I know you've seen it, but this was actually done in 2017. It was almost like a premonition. Very relevant to everything that's going on right now. So
that's cool though.
Posted as well, but I mean, everything that's in this piece is just like, I mean, what it states right here is revolution is coming. Due to lack of knowledge, you may be subject to infection of media and or government manipulation. You know?
Damn, dude.
That right now, this dude, he's got a gas mask on. Let's see. There's a mask here. What's been happening lately? You know, you see all these images of people holding rifles and stuff. All these protests that are going on. What's also relevant in this piece that I find interesting is these buildings burning right here. You know? Let's see. It's like we're totally being watched right now, you know? Like, this whole thing is interesting. I actually have prints of this ready to go. This is actually a print right here.
I was gonna ask you, how much are you selling those for?
Only like $12, man. I mean, they're not expensive.
Yeah.
I want to get to a point where I know that everybody can afford them. You know, if possible, I want to sell these for, you know, like $5-8 a piece.
Hey, but you know what's cool? I'm like, if I had a band or something, like a punk band, I'll be like, that's my next cover.
Yeah. So I have this piece. I don't know how old this piece is. I don't even know why I still have it, honestly. I've never made any prints of it or anything, but this piece is probably, I don't know, close to 10 years old.
Oh, damn.
So that's an airbrushing right there. It's one of my favorite mediums to work in.
That's cool. How long have you been messing with the airbrush?
Oh, let's see. Probably 12 years.
If time flies, huh?
Yeah, time absolutely flies. The more you get older, the faster time goes.
Hey, so when we were painting, I was like, I got to live inside your world a little bit, because you also had your Bluetooth. So I was like, I was out there painting. It's all long hair, don't care. Who was that?
Oh gosh, that was Snotty Nose Res Kids. Yeah. You haven't heard.
But it was so perfect, because there was people coming in the parking lot. You know, I don't want to say who, but they're like, long hair, don't care. They're all scared.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I love it.
I know. So what other music do you, when you're painting, like what do you have on? Like, what gets you going?
You know what? I vary in music so much. You've experienced a little bit of it. You know, I listen to everything from oldies, Zapp and Roger, to old school hip hop, which I think is funny. The hip hop I grew up on is now considered old school hip hop. That's just crazy. But
don't remind me, dude. Oh my.
So I mean, there's basically nothing I don't listen to. And then all of it's kind of like, it can set the mood too as well. Now, usually when I'm involved in art, like, there's music playing. It goes hand in hand. It's like I can't live without it. You can't be in the desert and not drink water. Well, I can't paint or draw and create without listening to music.
Thank you very much. That's why I ask. I'm like, because there's things behind that. Like sometimes there might be a young artist out there and they're listening to just one genre, and then they hear you say that they want to go into all those genres and start looking into them.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I've learned throughout time is never put yourself in a box, especially being an artist. It's very hard to categorize what genre or to categorize the artwork that I produce via, be it portraits or abstract or whatever. Like, it's very hard because I like experimenting with all of it. I like experimenting with all mediums I can get my hands on, whether it be color pencil, markers, spray paint, airbrush, acrylic, oil, pastels, all of it. Like, I love experimenting with all of it, and all of it, they all have stuff to teach. Everyone has something to offer, and I hope that that the stuff that I produce or the stuff that I say can inspire somebody to pursue that career.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like you have an addiction to art.
Oh man, I honestly can say this wholeheartedly. Like, I eat, sleep, and drink and dream about art. That's all I do. I'm not producing. I'm thinking of a creation that I can do next. There's never enough time in the day to where I can get all my ideas out on paper. If I had that time to do it, I have more ideas in my head that come out that are created in my head faster than I can put on paper.
Right? Oh gosh, it's a real thing. It's a serious thing, man. But I'm glad you said it, because sometimes people might be, they feel like they're like, could I be doing more? Am I doing enough? But there's folks out there that they're in the same situation. They're just like us, where we get tied up in the regular stuff. We don't have enough time to slam them in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you took on my questions.
That all goes back to priorities. What's your priority? Fortunately for me, I have somebody that's so supportive in my life. She allows me to do this. Like, I feel like I'm allowed. I feel privileged enough to have that support in my life. It's just something that I've always dreamed of, and now I have it in my life. It's like that one support that I needed, and now I feel like there's nothing else that can stop me. There's nothing else that can get in my way.
That's a good thing, man. I'm happy for you. I mean, because she also came out and painted with you. She did a flower on there.
That was totally unexpected. So, like, everybody that came out, that was another person that came out. Lourdes, she came out and helped paint, so that was awesome. I included her name right there where everybody else's names were.
No, that's so beautiful. I mean, just because this type of stuff, this is the stuff that should spread, the good vibes, the good energy, the positive thinking, and sharing with each other, because this is it. As a matter of fact, I posted up there on my Facebook that it was like 4.6 is the gross domestic product is arts and culture. So we know that we could still try to do something to get out of there, get out of what's happening.
Here's the one thing about art. No matter what, throughout time, it's the one thing that's stuck. It's stuck so much that you cannot go one day for 1 hour without seeing a piece of artwork. When you go into the fridge and pick out something out of the fridge, what's on the label? It's somebody's graphic design, right? That's somebody's creation right there. Somebody created that. Whether it being on a computer or a piece of paper, what's the difference, really?
Or you're wearing it.
Exactly. When you go brush your teeth, there's a brand name on that toothbrush. Somebody created that from nothing. When you grab that toothpaste, there's something somebody created right there. Everywhere you go in life, whether it be out in public or right at home, there's artwork all around you.
Yeah, well, who's the most famous? People don't even know what this food tastes like, but they know about Campbell's soup.
Yeah.
Because Andy Warhol.
Yep. Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, to every ends of the world, that's the one thing that I know, aside from science or aside from mathematics, is that it's universal. There's not in order to there's no voice needed in it. You know, there's an image there, and that's that.
Yeah, that's why it was part of the revolution as well, because a lot of folks didn't know how to read or write, but they saw the imagery and the story being told in that mural. They're like, oh, we got to get up. We got to do our thing.
Right. Throughout time, there's been art. You know, I mean, there's depictions that are today being torn down. You know, those statues that were being torn down and beheaded, what were they? They were pieces of artwork. You know, they were part of history.
Yeah. But that's a real thing, and that's in young James, his lifetime, where he's seeing history being corrected and told fully, almost. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
We're trying to fix what we know what was wrong and make it right. Because I mean, like, now that we know, how wouldn't you get it right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So for those people who just came on board and missed a lot of what we were speaking about, this is artist Sal Sawaki, also known as Wagon Burner Arts, and you can find him on Instagram and Facebook under that same.
Yeah, you can also find me under that same title on YouTube as well. I compose a lot of, not a lot of videos. There's a few videos on there, but I mean, I create all the videos myself. You know, every artwork that I created, no one has taught me. You know, I'm all self-taught. So I mean, even the videos and the music, some of it I created myself. Nobody's really learned on my own. So I mean, I'm not trying to get a pat on the back or anything, but what I'm trying to say, my message to everybody that's watching out there is, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. Don't ever let nobody tell you different.
Thank you very much for saying that, because they need to hear it. If you can, you got to go get it every day. And I can't wait to get together again, man. I'm so just fortunate to get to know you now and work with you. It's been just a pleasure, you know what I'm saying? And I want to continue to work with you. And man, if there's anybody out there, if you want to send any messages or anything like that, you could contact us here at the Galeria Mitotera, or check them out at Wagon Burner Arts here on IG.
If you have any questions about, if there's any artist out there right now that has any questions about where they want to go with their career or anything like that, you're more than welcome to ask me. There's nothing that I do that is selfish about me. If you need to learn something, by all means ask. I mean, that's what I'm here for.
Right on. Well, that's why I dig you so much, man. You're super awesome. Thank you for making time for us. It's super cool, and I can't wait to work with you again. I can't say enough about that.
Yeah, thanks.
So thank you so much.
Everybody for watching too.
Yeah, thank you, man. Have a good week.
Yeah, likewise.
All right, man. Peace.
Thanks.